Apologies for the low resolution of some of the shots. They were taken back in the days when there was a global shortage of pixels. The Netherlands is renowned for being the epitome of what utility cycling can and should be. On my first visit, I sure photographed a lot of bikes. I quickly moved on to cyclists, of course, and cats. Those subjects will endure. Every time I come home to Australia, I try to bring a little of that Dutch sensibility, to draw inspiration from such a people-friendly practice where the young, the old, the infirm, the frail derive regular moderate exercise every day as the side effect to using one of the world's most efficient and sustainable means of transport. The Dutch know when to use their bikes, predominantly shorter trips, and when to use their cars. They have it so utterly right. Lycra and helmets are as foreign to a Dutch cyclist as they are to a pedestrian. Good functional infrastructure minimises conflict with motorists, but further, motorists' attitudes and behaviour is at complete odds with that of Australian motorists. Virtually every Dutch motorist is also a cyclist. And the laws governing behaviour are clear and practical, protecting the most vulnerable. People decorate their bikes so that they may be distinguishable from the hordes. Hills, weather, urban sprawl. There are ways to address all these oft-trotted out excuses. Sure, I wish Sydney was less hilly and less hot, but there are gears, backstreets, even power-assisted bikes. Again, the Dutch have addressed the genuine integration of cycling with public transport. Trains, for example. At either end of the train journey, the cycle trip is probably quite short. In Australia, taking bikes on public transport is generally viewed as a negative and not well catered for. Another disincentive. Sometimes decoration is more about disguising stolen bikes, a hasty spray coat, dribbles and all. Perhaps we'll never be able to emulate the valuable and enviable asset that the Netherlands have crafted, but we have the potential to bring short-trip local utility cycling out of the shadows. Then we too could experience how magically restful the centre of towns and community hubs can become when not dominated by the most aggressive forms of transport. Recumbent bicycles, now they appear to be genuinely rare here. Anyone wearing clogs while riding a bicycle is in danger of being chased down the street by me. The only thing that would make me run harder would be if they were carrying a cat. The number of cyclists fell in the Netherlands by more than 60% between 1950 and the mid-70s as cars and freeways took over. Australia suffered a similar decline. Unlike Australia, the Netherlands worked hard to reverse the trend, initially in the face of strong opposition. Now, few Dutch would dispute what an asset good cycling infrastructure is. The first accessory I was enamoured with was the O-lock. I bought one at the first bike shop I found, and I photographed a selection of them to make sure I could figure out how to fit it to my bike when I got home. It's better than sliced bread, and I wouldn't be without it. Check these out, handlebar hand warmers. I didn't think any self-respecting local would be wimpy enough to use such a thing, but I did see a genteel lady in Amsterdam riding with them. She certainly didn't look like a tourist. It's very common to use the O-lock, perhaps combined with another lock, to immobilise one's bike so it can't be ridden off, but without chaining it to a fixed object. This is riskier in the larger cities, but it's great for quick stops wherever you are. It freaks people out a bit in Sydney, but I like to do it for the shorter stops because it's both handy and subversive. I've seen fittings to attach an open umbrella to your bike, but handheld is still quite common, as is just putting up with a bit of drizzle. I'm told that when Dutch children complain about going out in the wet, parents say something like, "Come on, you're not made of sugar. You won't melt." And thus, the fine Netherlanders are made of sterner stuff than anybody else I know. Oh, that's a compliment, by the way.